Hi there. Are you dreaming of that international teaching job, but you don't really know where to start, or in this case, when to start? Are you often hearing about jobs, but by the time you apply, it's already too late and the job's gone? Well, in this video, we're going to go through the International Teacher Recruitment Calendar, and we're going to do this from the perspective of the schools, so you'll know actually when the schools are taking action to fill those jobs, and this is going to greatly increase your chances of success. Okay, so let's get started. Hi there, if we haven't met before, I'm Mark and I've been teaching overseas for 23 years. I've taught in 7 different countries at 8 different international schools, and I've gone through this whole recruitment process quite a lot. Now on this channel, I'm getting a few questions recently from people saying things like, I'm really looking for a job at an international school. Can you help me? And can you tell me sort of if there are any jobs available right now? At the moment, right now, it is in fact July, and you can tell that it's July from this rather ugly thing on my face here. July means that I'm on holidays right now, and so are the schools, therefore so are the recruiters. So right now is not the time to be applying for an international teaching job. But what we're going to do is to go through the actual calendar starting with August. August is when most schools start their academic calendar, and it's when actually administrators already start the planning process for recruiting for the following year. Okay, so let's go through the calendar, and I'm going to do it month by month, and we're going to go through every month of the year so you've got the best chance of knowing when to focus your efforts. So I'm going to open up on my laptop here my calendar, and by the way, this calendar I'm going to put in the description, so check the links below. You'll be able to download a free version of this calendar month by month, sort of a strategic plan for what things you need to do and when, but also understanding what the schools are thinking in terms of the actions that they're taking. Okay, so let's get started with August. So what happens in August? New teachers are arriving, returning teachers are coming back in. They're probably already starting to think about whether this is going to be their last year at that school or not. And there might be some rather informal discussions amongst administrators about, future planning in terms of if contracts are expiring during this year. Now, September, these things are continuing, and teachers are having a bit of a think about, that they're probably going to get an email in their inbox very soon asking what their intentions are. So let's move into October. So in October, school leaders will meet. They will come up with a strategy. They'll assess their budget and have a look at what they will be having to do in the next couple of months in terms of recruitment, in terms of advertising and those kinds of things. During this month, there are likely to be internal deadlines for teachers to give their intentions. So October is all about that internal deadline. So we're moving into November, and by November, the vacancies should have been finalized. The administrators at the school know exactly who is leaving, and they are now advertising positions. So these positions might be advertised on the school website, but they'll also start contacting recruitment agencies and letting those agencies know of the vacancies that are coming up for the following academic year. Now, some of the agencies the schools work with include Search Associates, ISS, Schroll, Teacher Horizons. There are a couple of others as well. There are quite a few entering the market for international teacher recruitment these days, and the school will start planning on whether or not they might attend a recruitment fair, which is a part of the process as well. Now in October and November, this is also when registration takes place for teachers to register for recruitment fairs. So if you sign up with a recruitment agency, you should have a look at their internal calendar for their own recruitment fairs. So for example, if I'm looking for a job and I'm registered with Search Associates, I'll have a look at when Search Associates are having their recruitment fairs. I live in Bangkok, so therefore I'll likely attend the Bangkok Recruitment Fair, which is in the second week of January. If I'm a new teacher, depending upon where I'm based, I'll also have a look and see where those recruitment fairs might be. So for example, if I'm teaching in Australia and I'm looking to apply for my first teaching job, I should be aware that there's actually a recruitment fair that's run by Search that takes place in Melbourne. So I don't have to leave the country necessarily, but I need to know when that recruitment fair is on. So during November, schools are already receiving applications. And it could also be that some of these applications have come even earlier, because maybe there have been some hints that people are leaving, and the whole network kind of goes into overdrive in October, November. Now, in some cases, people might have sent resumes to schools just in the hope that a job might come up, and that might be a useful strategy. It worked for me for my very first international teaching job, where I left my resume, then a job came up later in the year and they got in touch with me. But it's much less likely that that's going to happen. In fact, it could be that your resume doesn't even get looked at when it's received, and then once the recruitment practice goes into full swing, they might not even realize that they've already got your file. So you need to be applying for jobs when they're advertised and making sure that you're going through the whole process, not just expecting that schools will track you down just because you might have sent them your CV 6 months ago. So December is when things really intensify. This is when people are actually attending recruitment fairs. So the schools are going to these recruitment fairs, they're looking out for the desired candidates. But what you need to realize is that this is a fairly long process, and if schools are taking applications in November, December, they're looking at them, they're screening them, but they may not want to make a decision just yet because they might not feel they've found the ideal candidate. In November, December, they can be a little bit fussy. They can wait a little bit longer unless they find the perfect fit. And the perfect fit might not necessarily mean the best teacher for that particular job. The perfect fit could be that maybe they're looking for a teaching couple, because even though you might be the perfect science teacher for a secondary science job, there might be someone else who's maybe almost as good or just as good as you, and their partner, their wife, happens to be a primary school librarian. And so that perfect fit might be right for the school. So sometimes you might miss out on a job because you're just not quite the right fit, and there are lots of cost-saving things involved in terms of the school. If they can get a teaching couple, that's actually cheaper. Or you might be the perfect person, but you've got 3 kids and you're asking for full tuition for those 3 kids. And therefore you might be overlooked with the preference for a single teacher or a teaching couple with no kids. So there are lots of things to take into account. And you shouldn't worry too much about that. You should be just worrying about putting in the best application that you can at the best time, but making sure that you don't put all your eggs in one basket, that you're applying for several jobs, and that you're spreading your options geographically as well. You're not just saying, I'm going to go and get a job at this particular school in Singapore, for example. But keep in mind that December is when things really hot up, and you could be offered jobs in December for sure. Now, search associates that I register with when I'm looking for jobs, they often say that January is peak season. That's when most jobs are being offered. That's when they've got most of their fairs, their biggest, most popular fairs, and that's where things really are happening and people are offering contracts. So the major fairs that take place in January with search associates, ISS and CIS and others, the schools conduct in-person interviews during this month at those fairs, but there are often online interviews these days as well. So it's becoming more and more common that people are registering with recruitment agencies, but then doing the interview online rather than attending a recruitment fair. Now, in some cases, you have to pay to attend a recruitment fair. In my case, I know with search associates, you get one fair for free as a part of your registration fee that you pay for. There are others that might not charge you a fee to register, but you might have to pay to attend the recruitment fair. But January is when things are really hotting up. Offers are made, contracts are issued. Typically, teachers have, a couple of days to respond. They really should be given a week to respond, but if you attend a recruitment fair, things can happen really quickly, and there'll be a little bit of pressure on you to accept rather quickly. When I attended a fair in Bangkok quite a long time ago and I was offered a job in Hong Kong, I signed the contract at the hotel where the fair took place. You've got to think of the school's perspective. They want to fill these vacancies. If they think they've found the right person, they want that person to sign a contract. Otherwise, they might get another offer and go somewhere else. Now, February to March, we would call this mid-recruitment season. A lot of jobs have now already been filled, but they're still looking for the perfect person, or maybe other people have changed their mind, or maybe there have been some late decisions from teachers to leave their job, and these positions need to be filled. And even though schools may have already done some fairs in January, they're going to have to continue to do the recruitment process. So they'll continue hiring, more contracts are signed, those that didn't secure positions in January. So a lot of people think that if they've missed out on a position in January, they've missed the boat. That's not true. There are still many jobs to be gained. throughout February and March. So there might be some smaller fairs that take place in February, March, or it might be that you're just applying directly to the school and doing some online interviews. And schools will also be updating their job boards during this time. So once we get to April and May, things are getting a little bit stressful if teachers haven't acquired jobs by April or May. So things intensify for those people. It's the end of the recruitment season now. Most schools will be hoping that they've got all the recruitment done. In some cases, schools have finished all their recruitment by January. In other cases, it's still continuing. The Human Resources Department are now doing the onboarding process. So they've already been in touch with those that have signed contracts. They're getting all the formalities done. They're starting all the processes in terms of booking flights and hotels for arrival, or providing accommodation for arrival, and even sort of sharing information about orientation and about teaching schedules and those kinds of things. And of course, visa and work permit applications need to be done as early as possible in case there are any problems with those things. So if we haven't got ourselves a job by the end of May, then it might not be happening. You just never know what things can change, I suppose. But the recruitment season is pretty much done. June, July is the end of the academic year, and schools are packing it up. My school ends mid-June. Not thinking at all about recruitment for the next couple of months until they come back and the whole process continues again. So that's pretty much it. That's just breaking it down month by month. But the important takeaways from this really is to know that you really need to be doing the preparation work if it's June, July, August. But you're not going to be getting job offers. There are not going to even be jobs advertised at that point. So you need to really be prepared, because things will happen really quickly once we get into especially November, December, and January. So if it's right now, I'm in the month of July, it's the end of July. So right now, if you're thinking about this kind of thing, you need to be getting your CV organized. You need to be sort of going through a checklist of things that you need to actually do. Now, what I've got in the description that you can check, there is a timeline, which is what this video is focusing on. So please download that timeline, which goes through exactly what I've just told you. There is also a readiness checklist. So an international teacher readiness checklist. So if you're going into this for the first time, this will kind of just go through the process a little bit as well, but also talk about the things that you need to be doing in advance before the recruitment season really hots up. Okay, I hope you got a lot out of this. Please give it a like and a subscribe, and check out my other videos on the channel. Thanks for listening. Good luck with your job hunt, and I'll see you in another video.